In this video, I'm going to talk about measures of dispersion. Now, measures of dispersion in statistics are three, and these are important to understand the distribution of scores in a data set or in a group. Now, as we have seen in the previous video, that in order to understand about a group, we need one indicator which basically talks about the majority of the members of the group. And we have found there are three indicators: mean, median and mode. And depending upon what is the distribution, what is the nature of group, what is the distribution of the score in the group, we select the most suitable indicator to talk about as representative of the group. Now, that basically tells where is the majority of the score lying, or where is the majority centering around. When we need to understand, in addition to understanding the majority, that what is the total dispersion. Okay, the majority is around this score, but what is the dispersion of the whole score? So there are three indices for that. One is range. Range is basically the distance between the maximum point and minimum point. So the formula for calculating range is maximum minus minimum plus 1. So if we say that, okay, again, if I take my example of intelligence of boys and girls, then I would say that if boys' intelligence scores ranged from 50 to 100 and girls' intelligence score ranged from 80 to 120. Now, the range here, 50 to 100 is 51 actually, and the range for 80 to 120 is 41. So here we see that the boys' score variation is higher than the girls' score variation. So range is one way of looking at the dispersion. It basically gives you some rough idea of what is the general, or what is the range within which, or what is the boundaries within which all the scores are found falling. But then a range can be something which is misleading at times, because it doesn't tell you how many scores are, let's say, closer to the mean, and how many scores are farther from the mean and average, and what is the general tendency of dispersion of this score. In that case, to know that, we use standard deviation. Standard deviation is basically, the standard deviation is kind of average of all the dispersion in the data. This is a very good index to know. Third is interquartile range, which is the average of the dispersion by taking out the top 50% and bottom 50% of the score. So these three indicators of dispersion basically tell us about how, let's say, together or how far apart the individual datum or individuals are there in a group.